One of the most challenging concepts for young musicians to understand is counting and what we call rhythmic subdivision. And basically that means if we know that a note lasts for a certain time period, that's great, a half note or a quarter note or an eighth note. But we also want to understand its relationship to all the other notes in that particular measure of music. So for example, if I take a measure of 4/4 music and I put in, and I'm going to use my musical shorthand here, 4 quarter notes, I can count or subdivide that as 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want to make one of these notes a little bit longer, or excuse me, a little bit shorter, and add to it, so for example, turn these two guys into a pair of eighth notes, well, that can't be the 4 there. So here's my 4. So we know each eighth note is worth half a beat, so this is 3 and. This is sometimes what we will refer to as the 1 and or subdivided rhythmic counting system. Some even call it the 1-and system, and I'll get to that part in a minute. So we would count this 1, 2, 3, and 4. La, 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 la. Pretty straightforward, right? Now, if I put in an eighth note rest right here, and I change this guy up to be an eighth note right here, he still occurs on the and of the beat. And so if I put a little eighth note rest there, I still know that that's beat 3. So now it becomes la, 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 1, 2, 3, and 4. Get the idea? So with quarter notes and eighth notes and half notes, I can do all kinds of things there. So I could actually make this a half note. It would last 1, 2, and 4. That's how we would sing that measure. La, la, la. That's a shorter note, obviously, being a half a beat. Quarter note's worth 1 beat, and this is worth 2. And that's where you get the sense then, by looking at it, that this note is actually kind of 2 beats long. Now, getting into the more sophisticated way of notating this, I'm going to make my measure just a little bit bigger. I get a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, and now I'm going to do 4 16th notes. Okay, and let's put a quarter note rest at the end. Now, my counting system is still the same system, but I'm going to subdivide it a little bit differently. 1, 2, and now I'm going to use that E and a thing. This is still beat 3, 3, E, and And what beat is that? That's still beat 4. It's a quarter beat of silence. So we would say these 4/16 notes as 3 E and A. I could do that on beat 2, beat 1, beat 4, it doesn't matter. I am breaking down the measure into smaller and smaller rhythmic chunks. Doesn't change the fact that a measure of 4/4 still has 4 beats in it. What those beats are constituted of, what they're made of, a quarter note, a whole note, a half note, a whole bunch of 16th notes or 8th notes, or even a whole measure of rests. I'm still feeling, remember we talk about pulse or beat, 1, 2, 3. So I would sing this, la, 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 la. These guys, the 16th notes being very short. So we're going to explore some ideas in some of our lessons with how you rhythmically subdivide measures. Why is that important? Because when you go back and you're looking at your music, I know many of you have said, Mr. Siegel, I really want to read the music. To do that, it's an understanding of lines and spaces, pitches, and rhythmic values, rhythms. Pitch and rhythm, that's really all you need. Now, since I have a bass clef here, we're going to ignore that bass clef. Let's make that an imaginary treble clef. And of course, on the treble clef, being that all these notes are in the second space, we know that the spaces are F, A, C, and E. So theoretically, if I was playing this on an instrument or singing a pitch on the piano, I would have to make sure that I'm singing the pitch A. I don't happen to know off the top of my head right now what A sounds like, but you get the idea. And if they went up and down, okay, if I change the nature of these notes, if I change what line or space they're on, that's all good. I can do that, right? But it will not change the rhythmic value. Rhythm and pitch are separate, but they work together. So really, if I call this do, do, ti, ti, la, 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 maybe I want to add something here to give it a sense of finality, so I'm going to put a final do there, or a final, final quarter note. Do, ti, ti, la, 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 sol. And if I sang it in reverse, la, sol, la, 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 ti, ti, do. Kind of weird singing it backwards, but you get the idea. So understanding this concept of rhythmic subdivision is part of what will help you as a musician to understand how to read your music. That way you transition from just looking at the words to actually reading notes and pitches. We do a lot of that work through solfeggio here in the classroom. We can't quite do that in our virtual environment right now, but we're going to find ways to explore that.